How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. We are going over a good old video of Beckman. We are back with Beckman. Somebody requested that actually quite a few people request that I go back to doing Beckman, so I have a few of his videos lined up that I'll be shuffling in with other videos to give you all a bit of variety. So this one is called Whining, Pulling, and Acting a Fool. This is in Joel's words. How to reduce complex behaviors in an hour. So first, let's just break down the title. Or I guess before I do that, I talk a lot in this video. I'm going to try, and in any video I do, I'm going to try and add chapters to the video so that way I can, if you want to, you can look through and cut through the talking and then go straight into just the review or the reaction. If you are interested in seeing his video before mine, because I do a lot of cutting up, or a lot of pauses and breaks because I talk through it, please go check out his video right here. It is Whining, Pulling, Acting a Fool, How to Reduce Complex Behaviors in an Hour. So if you're interested in doing that first, go do that. If you like to support him by all means. If you like to support my channel, then it is very much appreciated, but it's of course not required. So breaking down the title, Whining, should be comma there, Pulling, and Acting a Fool. So if the dog is acting a fool, according to Joel, the dog is not acting a fool. The dog is just being a dog. The humans put those titles on animals. Whenever I see a human put a title, call a dog a name, call a dog stupid, even if they're joking, like, hey, stupid, hey, idiot, hey, why is my dog so dumb? Hey, why is he stubborn? I automatically place that label back on the human. The human is stupid, is an idiot, is a jerk, is being stubborn, is being dumb. It's nothing personal against the human. But if they don't care and realize that they're labeling the dog when the problem is them, it's not the dog, it's the human. If we look at how he says how to reduce, and the way he says it, complex behaviors in an hour, this is not how you do it. Complex behaviors, he says that to sound fancy. It's probably a number of behaviors. The dog is fearful. The dog may or may not be reactive. Whatever the dog is afraid of. It could be humans, it could be animals, it could be outside new environments. If the dog chooses to redirect, I guess they wouldn't choose, it'd be more instinctual. Which means if the dog is scared, then they would just like instantly redirect, which means they usually go to nip or bite whatever's near them without thinking. It's like if you're into a scary movie and you're watching and then somebody, you're eating popcorn and somebody comes over and they scare you, or they're like, hey, how's it going? And you just... you may smack them if someone sneaks up to tickle you. Like my grandma always told the story that, my grandma hated and still hates being tickled. And she was sitting in a chair once, and my grandpa came over behind her to go tickle her. And she instinctively took him and threw him over the chair because she hates being tickled. That's just her instinct. She didn't think to do that. She didn't try to do that. But that'd be like a redirection. But when you have complex behaviors, such as the ones I've listed, like anxiety or fear or aggression or reactivity, you're not going to fix that in an hour. Now, notice how he says reduce, not fix. He may or may not have learned from previous videos, or he just, said he wanted to reduce it because he couldn't fix it. Even to reduce it in an hour this is not the way I would go about doing it. I am a certified dog trainer. I specialize in working with fearful and reactive dogs, and I use videos like these to show you what not to do, and I explain how I would do it differently. So I've worked with many a fearful dog, and I never put pressure on them. I never put a halter on them. I don't try to force them to do anything. You can certainly make progress with a dog. You can reduce some of that in an hour, but to reduce that, I would say it's more you're gaining trust with the dog. But it depends with each person. So we're going to get ready. We're going to get into the video. So if you're ready for that, let's get started.
Okay, come on.
Oh, this poor thing. Ow, 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 ow.
Buddy, I don't know what to tell you. It's not gonna not happen. I know.
So that was an interesting little bit right there. In just that 14 seconds, this dog was trying to tell him, I don't want to go with you, because the dog is fighting opposition reflex. So when they're scared, because they're forced and tethered to a person they don't know, being Joel. So dog is also with a painful tool on. This head halter isn't necessarily meant to be like particularly painful, but you have more control over your dog. It's hitting behind the skull. It has a lot of nerve endings. The face is very sensitive. So whether or not it was designed to cause pain, it's a control device. I don't like to use it. I certainly wouldn't be forcing a dog to follow me. The reason the dog gives in because it hurts. The dog is going to feel more trapped with this on its face. You really shouldn't be putting pressure on it the way Joel teaches. He always has a little treat pouch. He never uses it. He'll claim that he'll flood the dog, make it too nervous, and he'll claim, oh, they don't want treats, blah, blah, blah. No, it's because you're flooding the dog. The dog's tail, their top line here is curved, so they're very uncomfortable. Their tail is tucking. You did see that little wag. If you go back a couple seconds, you're going to see the dog do a little bit of a wag tail. That doesn't mean the dog is happy. The dog is trying to appease him because he stopped pressure on the halter, the head halter, the halty, whatever, gentle leader. And he started walking towards the dog, and the dog is having that like more submissive tail wag to say, you know, I don't want any problems. You know, just don't hurt me. So I wouldn't be worried about this dog following me or walking on leash. If I have a dog we're working on complex behaviors, I would have them on a harness. I would have the owner walking them around. If they wanted me to walk them, and then I would have them on a long line, 20-foot leash. Let the dog walk around freely, you know how to use your leash. And I'm not going to force them to go anywhere they don't want to. You know, the leash would just be there to keep them from really running away. But the fact that he forces the dog
who has some complex behavioral problems. There's a moment in this video that everything switches where I realize the motivations for this dog are not what I thought they were. You're going to notice
it's probably just getting away from you
kind of instantly with the tail wags and with the eyes. Okay, you're also going to notice right here that's some serious pulling.
Well, it is, but so let's explain what's going on in this instant. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So earlier when I mentioned the dog is wagging their tail in a more of a submissive manner, I mean to say that they're not happy. Just because you see a tail wagging doesn't mean the dog is always happy. So you could tell a dog, no, smack them in the face, or be really stern with them, but then say, see, look at the wagging tail. The dog's wagging its tail. Okay. That doesn't mean the dog is happy or comfortable. They're trying to appease you. It's like, if you're nervous and you shake your leg, it's trying to relieve anxiety. This dog is pulling to get away. It sees a gate here. There's an opening between the gate here. It doesn't want to be here. The dog is pulling because of opposition reflex. When it feels pressure on its throat, it feels trapped and it wants to run. It would do the same thing on a harness. Harnesses don't make dogs pull. They just make it more comfortable, and it's a learned behavior. And there's also a cameraman or camera person walking backwards while pointing at the dog. That could be creating a draw. The dog wants to move towards them. I don't know that they necessarily want to say hi to the camera person. I think the dog is just trying to get away from this tight area.
It doesn't really get harder than that from a dog that size. This dog is a heavy puller. That's why they came to me coupled with whining. The other big problem is whining.
Okay, so those are not complex behaviors at all. I mean, by themselves. The dog could be pulling because this whole area here, I'm sure, is just wafting with a perfume cloud of animal smells. Humans can't see it, but I'm sure the dog can see it. That says, dog pee here, come pee here. There's all sorts of different animals you haven't ever met that have come and peed here. So the dog could be pulling towards that. The dog could be pulling because they're nervous. If Adonis went into a new area, especially one like this, he would probably pull. And he never pulled me. He was very, very soft on leash. But if he was in a new area, he would pull. In an area when he was nervous, he would pull. That's more of a complex behavior. If your dog is pulling because they're nervous, it's different than if your dog is pulling because they're excited, because they're in a happy state of mind. They want to go, 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 go. We just have to teach them patience. In a case like this, I think the dog could use some confidence building, making the dog more comfortable in new environments. But I don't know. I've only seen 47 seconds of this. the other part of it is, okay, your dog is pulling. For me, that's easy to fix. I have a video in the description below. I always have a link to how I taught my dog to stop pulling, my Shiba, and how I teach every client's dog to stop pulling. Very simple. You don't even have to use treats, and I'm a big treat person, unless your dog is really nervous. Usually I let the walk become the real life reward. But I use them in a harness, and I teach them to give into pressure very lightly. The other part, the dog is whining. Why is the dog whining? You don't take your dog to a trainer or a board and train or whatever because the dog is whining, because they're not going to be able to fix that. And you shouldn't try to fix it. You need to figure out what you as the owner are doing that is causing your dog to whine. I just had a client this afternoon doing the video call where her dog barks and constantly asks for her attention. And I say, okay, we go through our checklist. Has the dog been fed, pottied? Have they had exercise? Is it, do they need to go to the vet to check out, is there an underlying, symptom, like a tooth that's aching, and when they bite on it, it makes them anxious or it amps them up. And the dog just really wants one person's attention. When dad's home, he's fine. When mom's home alone trying to work, the dog has learned that, I get anxious or I want mom's attention or whatever it is. So we're working on that. Part of that is getting the dog out for plenty of exercise, really tiring them out, and then separating them with a baby gate or a penned area where the human can get away from the dog, and the dog has their own area that they learn that they can be comfortable in. So they're not constantly clawing at mom's leg and, she's trying to work, and it just makes it frustrating for everybody.
Problem. So I'm analyzing. See that little fear move right there?
Ow, ow, ow.
Like, there's fear in there.
So, sorry, you're going to hear me say ow a lot. I say that when I see rough handling. This owner here was already very rough with the leash. I want you to see the tension as he goes to release this dog. The dog is already whale eyes, ducking down away from the owner. The owner's body language is very intimidating to the dog. The dog gets loose.
Little fear move right
yank.
There, the tail.
Very slight little yank there that he's trying to unclip a clip. I see this all the time when people get mad at the animal because they're moving, because the animal is getting frustrated that you don't know how to work a dang clasp because of whatever reason. I don't care if you're old or you have bad hands or you have arthritis. Use something that's easy for the animal. They don't care. Otherwise, take your time, but don't get mad at the animal for fidgeting. Teach your pet, hopefully humanely and appropriately, to be able to be calm while you do that. And you need to figure out how to work the clasp in an easier way.
Like there's fear in there. I gotta figure out what's going on.
Oh, dog looks like they were limping for a little bit.
All the time.
They do look like they're kind of limping.
I'm analyzing the people. I'm trying to figure out, do the people have physical limitations?
So the dog is very
financial limitations. Does the dog
very nervous for the most part, but
if the dog doesn't come to the owners, it might be because of recall. Look at the eyes. That's one of the first things I noticed. Those eyes just seem kind of overwhelmed, kind of.
They look very overwhelmed. It doesn't take a genius to see this dog is nervous, alone from the eyes. If you hear me say whale eyes, it's when you see the whites of the dog's eyes. Their eyes are open so big, you can see the whites. Eyes like that, they have the worry lines. This dog is clearly nervous. They have the curved top line where their spine is curved. They have their ears back. There's quick movement. Their mouth is closed a lot.
Fearful. And I just
That's
saw
a good,
those eyes the
happier
whole time I was
tail,
there, and
tail wag.
Struck me. Those eyes struck me a little bit. I can't tell you exactly.
Hackles are kind of going up a little bit at the base of the spine.
So the
They're
dog,
excited.
First meeting of Prince. How does the dog look? Looks pretty good, right? You're gonna see
a little bit of hackles,
and he's not.
And hackles means the dog is getting stimulated, and they may turn to fight or flight. So they're just getting excited. The hair goes up on the end of the on end.
With Prince, but he's weird with Prince. So
I don't think he's weird with Prince. And Prince, which is Joel's dog. Oh, let's see another perfect picture. Whale eyes, very, very worried. Closed mouth, short lips, ears are back. Whether it's because they're going around the people, because they see Prince, because the camera person here is also putting pressure on them. Between the people and the person, there's tight space. Dogs, when they get themselves cornered, they don't know how to get out of it. So they don't know how to move away from something that scares them. Say a dog runs up to you for petting, and they lay down, go belly up, and you go to scratch their tummy, but they start growling at you. I've had cases like this. The dog thinks they're doing the right thing, but because they're nervous, they think the right answer is to run over to the person and show belly up, and they'll leave you alone. So I teach the dog, when you come over here and go belly up, I'm just going to ignore you. I'll toss a treat away. When you move away, you feel comfortable. There you go. Bing, bang, boo. You don't have to come over here. That's not the right answer for you. So some dogs go over because they like it. They come over for a belly scratch because they like to get the belly scratch. Other dogs learn it's the only way to turn off pressure. Or in this case of the dog I'm referring to, it was 4 prongs or whatever it is on a very high-powered shock collar. So, anyway, Joel's dog, Prince, which is a Doberman, you're going to see here, I'm sure in a minute, is a bully, in my opinion. He's very pushy. He's way too over the top. He's very, in this case, I would say dominant. In the case of human definition of dominance, where this dog constantly is on your case to make sure that he's the prince, he's the king Sheba, whatever, of everything, and he's going to let you know it. And that is not really dominance. That is a bully. Dominance would be 2 dogs see a bone, say this dog and Prince are going after the same bone, this dog corrects Prince and Prince moves away. In that moment, this dog is dominant. But say Prince comes back and corrects him and gives him a harder correction or whatever, and this dog leaves the bone alone, Prince would be dominant in that situation.
Constantly analyzing.
So he's going around, he's sniffing, we get him back on leash. I would not, that's mistake number 1, is you don't let your dog pull you to another dog. I don't like having dogs on leash meet anyway. I especially don't like having an on-leash dog meet an off-leash dog, even if it were my Shiba that they were meeting. And I trusted my Shiba. I had him for 12 years. We just had his 1-year anniversary since I said goodbye to my good boy on July 17th. And, I trusted that boy with my life. And I used him to help rehabilitate other dogs, but not the way Prince does. Prince doesn't rehabilitate anything. He's just a bully. You can tell by his stance here. Very tall tail. His mouth is closed. His ears are forward, even though they're cropped. He's very much like, yeah, come check me out. Not how I would introduce a dog at all. If I'm going to have them introduced, I'm going to have them off leash. So they both, there's no advantage. Because if Prince goes to correct this dog, the brown dog will feel trapped. They could feel trapped anyway because of the leash. They can feel that opposition reflex. They can, get into a whole bunch of trouble. They don't feel like they're on the same ground fighting level. They're on the same level. As well as Prince, the other dog, they will know this. They're smart enough to know, hey, you can't get me, so I can cause trouble, and you can't come get me. Whale eyes, not how I would.
Might attack another dog due to fear.
Okay, so this dog has very short lips. They're trying to jump over Prince, because he's standing his ground, and this dog, is like, hey, I want to try to mount you or get on top of you. They're just testing each other, especially since Prince has, his ears are back. He has very squinty eyes. He does have a closed mouth and short lips, so he's probably getting ready to correct the other dog, which I would be okay with. I'd be more okay if they were off leash, though. If I had control of the leash, I wouldn't let this dog jump on top of Prince. But at the same time, I wouldn't have them on leash anyway. Or I'd have both dogs leashed, and I would do that where I'd have somebody, the owner would hold it on us because I could trust him, and I would take the other dog and move closer and away. Sorry, it's a whole process, but but in this case, I would not have this dog. I would work on loose leash walking first before I go walking up to a dog. And I would not allow this if I were on leash.
Two very different things.
Okay, so I feel like Joel waited a little too long, and he was very rough with that correction, because as he pulled him away, you see lip lick, they're holding eye contact. Prince is sideways, so Prince may have wanted to correct, but he may not have because Joel is there. Who knows what would have happened, but I would have pulled him away before then. I would have prevented this, but also he was very tight when he jerked him away.
So instant into a hump, but Prince doesn't care. I
wouldn't have said into a hump.
Male.
So Prince goes to mark the post, and then he looks at the other dog and gives a lip lick as a way to release give a calming signal.
Care about the hump, and you're going to see multiple hump
Ouch.
tries, and Prince doesn't care. Well, I don't know.
The dog may be trying to hump or get on top or play because they're on leash. So here with the other dog, this whole body language, the whole, scenario seems to change for this dog. This dog seems to be more comfortable with another dog around than just the humans.
Prince knows, but look at this poll. This is...
So I can get through more of the video without stopping every 5 seconds. I am going to mute him, just otherwise we'll be here forever. So for everybody who's been trying to fast forward, sorry, we're going to get a little bit further. So I'm just going to be commenting on this. That pull is there because he's not doing anything to stop it. If it were me, I would stop my forward movement the second that tension gets tight, and then I would apply gentle pressure around on the side of the dog's body. So he puts a muzzle on now because he's excited, or because the dog's off leash and the dog is really excited, so they're humping. Ouch. So now ouch. He's teaching the dog not to pull now. So there's a whole bunch of things going on. So he lets the dog go off leash. It has it on muzzle for safety, but he didn't have the muzzle on when he had the leash on, which is more likely when the dog is going to fight, when the leash is on and they feel trapped. I'm all for basket muzzles, but if I'm going to have one dog in a basket muzzle, I'm going to have them both in a basket muzzle. Again, so we're all on the even playing ground. Now, he does the yank and crank method to teach the dog not to pull. Ouch, ouch, ouch. And the dog is going to start to shut down. Ouch, ouch. Lip lick, fearful. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I mean, the dog's probably not saying ouch there, but at the end of the leash here, he will. And then he goes back to allowing the dog to pull. So he's not being consistent for a reason. I don't know why, but not being consistent. The dog says, well, I got corrected here, but I don't get corrected here. So what do I do? And even popping the dog like that is not really going to teach them anything. He's just doing this for whatever reason. But he's letting the dog reinforcement. And then he has somebody bring him treats. And then he goes back to correcting and popping. So what on earth was the purpose of that? You just confused the dog. You undid training. Dogs are easily trained, untrained from the same behavior, retaught the same behavior. So he gets his treats, which he's never going to use. I don't know why he even bothered doing that. Dog is yawning, stress panting. They want to get back to their people because he's jerking them around. Dog is very nervous. Stress panting with that spatulate tongue that holds, looks like it could hold water. Of course the dog wants to pull to get back to their owner. He's been hurting them. He's been scaring them. So I don't even know what he's saying. Well, I guess we can unmute.
You saw what I saw, right? He was like, Mommy, Daddy, Mommy, Daddy.
Okay, I'm going to mute him again because this is going to piss me off. That he's talking like a human. The dog is not saying that. He's going to show them that food doesn't work because I'm guessing he's using low value treats or kibble, and the dog is already over threshold, so the dog is not going to take food. I have dogs, Adonis would love a piece of steak. He was spoiled anyway, but I could take him to environments like this and he wouldn't touch the steak. I could take him to the park and there was too much going on. He wouldn't take it. When your dog is over threshold, they're not going to take the food. It doesn't mean that the food or positive reinforcement doesn't work. It means you're working too fast. So he uses that as a lame excuse as to why he doesn't use food. It's just because he's incompetent, he's lazy, he would rather, dare I say, abuse an animal to get results than take time to teach them appropriately and humanely. Tight leash, yanking. Demanding entitlement of a human. And he's all proud because he used to work at SeaWorld. That just shows your ignorance. Oh my gosh. Yanking and jerking. If you ever have someone training your dog like this, you can tell him to fuck off. Pardon my French, but not, sorry, not sorry. You can tell him, do not touch my dog like that. Give me my leash, and you can leave. If you have to rip it out of their hand, do it. You may not get a refund. You can demand a refund. Whatever. But You do not have to allow anyone to mistreat your animal in any way, shape, or form that you do not appreciate. Dogs, I believe, with me, animals have the right to give and take consent. Give consent, remove consent at any time. They can say no. And I work around that. And I see, why are they telling me no? Dog is pulling. Guy is yanking. Camera's probably causing a draw. Some kind of interest the dog wants to go towards. The dog just wants to go back with their people. So what happened there? Why was there that major cut and the dog is now sitting? How long did it take him to get this dog to sit? How many corrections did he give this dog before they sat? Stands up again. Dog looks very, very stressed. Still pulling, still pulling, still pulling, still pulling. And he can stop this, but he's doing this to make a point, a really stupid, pointless point, showing the owners, look at this. Look at how the dog, yeah, we can see. We're not stupid, we're not blind. If you don't want the dog to pull, then stop moving forward when the dog is pulling. You don't need to yank the dog back and make him come flying back at you either. So he's reinforcing, 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 reinforcing. All this is reinforcing. Can you still go back and reteach the dog? Absolutely. But he's teaching the dog to be loud on leash, just like he has loud hands when he's yanking and pulling, instead of gentle. Instead of gentle. Instead of gently. He's doing that. So now he's telling them some kind of nonsense, some blah, 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 that, he's trying to humanify, or what is it called? Anthropomorphize the dog, who's just looking for acceptance from their owner. The owner and the dog made eye contact. The dog shook off to release stress and sat down. They're looking for any kind of acceptance or reassurance from their owner, who gives them none. He still has the tight leash. So the dog's off leash now. I don't know what they're working on.
To them. He just wanted to pull to get to where he wants to go. Those are two totally different things.
The dog was pulling to get away from you because you were hurting it and scaring it and yanking it around the neck and possibly choking it. We don't know. Of course, he's going to pull to get to his owners. The whole time when the dog was off leash, he was staying really close to the owners. Go figure. That's actually really good. Of course, he's going to pull to get to where he wants to go. If you allow him, if you follow him, he wants to stay with his people. He wants to stay away from you. He's not doing it to be rude, or see, he could have bolted through that door, but he didn't. He's going to go back to his owner. He's a very good dog. There's nothing wrong. This dog is not doing anything wrong. The dog never has done anything wrong. He says, oh wait, let me go back to my owner. He's excited. I don't know if that other person over there, I don't know if they're calling him or not. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is a happy dog, and they're happy to go back and forth to their owner. Their owner isn't bribing them with treats. They just have a good bond with their dog. Or because Beckman was harming and scaring the dog is not going to want to go be with him. Go figure. But the owner should always be rewarding the dog heavily for, oh look, another one, for coming back to them. Wow, there's a lot of dogs here. So if the dogs are reactive, it could be because of the fence, because we have barrier reactivity. Hence why I don't like dogs being on leash when they meet, because they can feel trapped, or it just creates more of that false sense of security. So I don't normally like dogs to sniff and meet through a fence. I would rather them meet out in the open together with both of them muzzled if I don't know the two dogs. But this guy has a pretty happy, loose tail. It's not very stiff. It's hard to tell with dogs like this because they have very short tails. They're, docked, but this tail is that's a pretty loosey-goosey tail. If I see it stiffen up, then I'll, point that out. But they're doing fine. They're sniffing. Doing a little sniffy sniff. No hackles are up, so that's good. They're kind of up a little bit at the base of this dog's tail, a little brownie here. But he's just excited. He looks like a very happy dog who's much more friendly with other dogs than with humans, especially when humans are trying to hurt them. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if this dog is going to be in here for a board and train or not, but look at the change in behavior. Big eyes again. He's checking with his people. Ow, 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 ow. Dog has never had this on before. You need to condition if you're going to use any kind of head halter. Condition it so the dog isn't trying to paw it off. Same with the muzzle. You condition it, which means you take time to make the dog see it as something positive. You don't just throw it on there and throw him into the lion's den. Kiko Pup has some wonderful videos out there of how to condition a basket muzzle, and I'm sure even a head halter. Or there's Happy Hounds training, there's training positive canine. There's a lot of other great channels out there that have these resources for you that are free. Oh yeah, and as part of the instructions of the halty, they tell you do not use quick jerking movements, as it can cause damage to your animal. No kidding. You can hurt the jaw. You can twist their neck around. You can hurt a muscle, pull a muscle, break a neck. Especially the way what you saw Beckman doing earlier when he let the dog get to the end of the leash and he was yanking. He will do that on a head halter, just as hard. Dog is fighting because it's not conditioned. It feels pain. I don't know why the owners aren't doing it, because they don't know any better. To me, that's no excuse. Dog wants to stay with their people. Give them the leash. Give them the leash and let them hold on to it. This is a great dog. This dog knows that he loves his people. And unfortunately, they don't really seem to share the same with him. He's looking back to them. Yank, yank. Ouch. Ouch. Ouch.
Classical conditioning level, not an operant conditioning level. It's an automatic response as opposed to a choice. And when something is a choice, you can reinforce it to increase it, or you can punish it to bring it down. When something isn't really a choice, it's going to take longer to go away.
But this should be a choice. But Joel Beckman doesn't care. And he says that all the time. I don't care. Because he's a human, he has opposable thumbs, he has a big ego, whatever. He is an egomaniac, and in my opinion, and he does whatever he wants because he can, because he gets away with it, and he gets paid a lot of money to do it. I think he charges like $2,000 for some ungodly amount for 15 minutes to 30 minutes in a video call. I mean, do what you want, but good Lord. Dog is staying with him, no reward other than just not getting punished, trying to run away from him. Ouch, ouch, and a sharp jerk and pop. If the dog were to ouch, he's forcing the dog to look at these other dogs, even though the dog is trying to be calm and say, I don't want to fight, I don't want to get in a fight, I don't like this, I don't want to be here. The dog is trying to be patient and telling this idiot of a person, of a trainer, this guy, who looks like he's laughing at the dog. The dog is saying, don't put me in the lion's den. Otherwise, you're going to force me to fight. And I can't fight because when I do, you correct me. So it's learned helplessness. All Joel does is teach learned helplessness. He actually says himself, to teach the recall, you have to teach learned helplessness. Which shows just how ignorant and egotistical this person is. Ouch. 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 I don't know why he's correcting the dog for looking at his owners, as he should. The dog should look at their owners, and this is exactly what you do not do. This can kill your dog, what he's about to do. If it doesn't cause serious damage, never, ever, ever do that. Lip licking. Oh yeah, good. I just nearly ripped your head off. I abused you in the name of training. But no, you're a good boy because you followed me, because I'm a slave driver and I'm a master and you're the slave. Drag, drag, drag. Dog is finally saying, oh, yeah, no. I just ripped your face off. But now come here, because when I yell at you and jerk you, that doesn't work. So then I have to be the nice guy. And then I'm going to get tired of that because I'm impatient. I have the patience of a fly. And so then I'm going to, force you and drag you anyway. Ow, 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 ow. This is absolutely ridiculous. Ouch. Submissive tail. So I don't know how long he struggled with this dog for, but now he's going to give it to the owner and do the same thing. And he may or may not have added his... Ow, 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 ow. No. The owner's correcting the dog. The dog didn't even do anything. The dog sat because he thought he was supposed to sit. So that's what happens. Okay, let me finish my first thought one sec. You might see an extra collar on there because the halty goes... It has a backup that goes onto the collar. So God forbid if it slips off, you know, you still have connection to your dog. But you give tools like this that have leverage that causes pain, that also causes confusion. You give that to someone who doesn't know what they're doing, to an animal that doesn't need it. No one needs it. No animal needs it. But you give that to someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and you're going to make things 10 times worse. This dog, I swear, Joel ruins animals for people. He makes them worse, and people are going to claim, you know, oh no, my dog's great. Yeah, probably because you spent $3,000, and you're not going to say that the training didn't do shit. If I spent $3,000 or $5,000 doing a board and train, and I didn't see any difference, or my dog is now terrified, and I have to rely on a shock collar, button, you know, remote, or I have to rely on a certain you have to now rely on this tool. You can't just walk your dog in a regular leash. You can't walk your dog on a regular collar or harness. If Adonis ever got loose, I could literally just put a shoestring around his neck. And it wasn't because he was used to the tight little choking. I didn't even have to, I would put it around him and it wouldn't even compress his fur to get him to move to pressure. He got loose once and I took a shoestring out of my shoe and I put it around him and that was his little leash and he didn't even pull on it. You know, he was used to walking in a harness. He was so soft on leash that I couldn't use a retractable leash with him without reeling it out first because the pressure on the retractable leash was enough to hold it on his back. And you're giving a tool like this to someone who doesn't know what they're doing, who's overcorrecting, making the dog loud because he has loud hands. Versus when you have soft hands. You know, this is soft. This is loud. Of course the dog's not pulling because he's with his owner. Now he's forcing him to go sniff other dogs. Forcing him to sniff. Dog doesn't want to. Dog is trying its best to be good. And it is a very good boy and it gets no reward for that. The only reward the dog gets is not being corrected. This is absolutely how you set your dog up for failure. 100%. You want to set your dog up for failure, go to Joel Beckman. Ouch. Poor thing. So, that looks like that's the video. This is not at all what I recommend, but, you know, you do you. If you like this, then go train your dog this way. If you think that this is the best training ever, then I'm not going to fight you for it. I'm not going to try and convince people who are dedicated to misunderstanding me. If you think this is great, more power to you. We'll agree to disagree. So that was this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the suggestions as always. Thank you for the kind words. I hope everyone is doing well. Please go say hi to your little critters for me. Say howdy do. Give them some kind of loving. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.